Hey team, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can actually utilize some gyro sensor workarounds, right? So the way my code is currently set up, I set my motors, my speed, I'm waiting, and then I'm turning to the right until my gyro sensor senses that I've turned 75 degrees and then stopping. Now when I was running my robot, I found that 75 degrees was roughly a perfect 90-degree turn. Right, so we talked about gyro drift, the lag, and then the total angle being added. So, right, the first way we can kind of work around those three issues by going to sensor, and you could set your yaw angle to 0, right? That's this block. And when I want it, if I'm using this block, which I highly recommend it, I'm always putting it before I do my start moving. And you want to put it typically right after you have stopped and waited, right? So now I'm not moving forward beforehand. This is the very first thing in my code. I'm just going to put it before my start moving, right? So that's going to help to kind of mitigate the gyro drift and the adding up of the angle every time you turn, right? The addition of those degrees. So that'll kind of help limit those two factors. And then if you want to try to mitigate the lag, what you can do is actually lower your speed of your movement. That way the lag will not be as drastic, because if you're moving super quick, then the sensor is not going to be able to catch up with the movement of your robot. So if you go to movement and you set your movement speed and you stick it before the turn as well, and if you lower that, so if we're working at 50, if you lower it, I don't know, you could try like 35. You're going to have to experiment with that a little bit. But if you lower your speed, it's not going to make the sensor, lag behind a little bit. The sensor should be able to keep up with the turning of your robot, right? So if we were to have this, so I'm going to put this to the side for a second. If we were to have our robot move forward for however many rotations, right? Then we're going to stop moving and wait. And then I want to do my 90-degree turn. Right, so I will set my angle to 0. I'm going to lower my speed, and I'm going to turn to the right until it's at 75, and then stop moving. Now, because we're lowering our speed, you may have to change this number, so it may actually be a little bit closer to 90 as opposed to 75, because there is a little bit of a tolerance that you have to account for, because it is a Lego component at the end of the day, right? But say you were to kind of chain these together, like you're going around a square or you're trying to do several turns at once. So I'll take this out, right, and I would add a wait block here. I'm just going to duplicate this just to make it a little bit easier for us. I'll go out a little bit so you can see. I'm going to attach it here, and now I want to go to the left. You have to make sure that after you do your turn, right, you have to reset it again before, right? So this is kind of what you want. But if you want to change your speed for going forward, you can just go to your movement blocks and then just set your speed directly before you move forward. So now the way the code works, and I'll add the stop and exit at the end. I know this is a little bit long, but you can certainly pause this and go back and reference it when you need to. Set your movement speed to C and D. Or set your movement motor, to C and D. Set your speed to 50. Wait a second. I'm going to move forward for 10 rotations. Stop and wait. Set my angle to 0. Set my speed to 35. And then I'm turning to the right until I turn to the right at roughly 85 degrees. Stop and wait. And then I'm going to bring my speed back up because I'm moving forward. And I know 50 is a decent speed for that. Stop and wait. Then again, I set my angle to 0. Lower my speed, and I can turn again. And if you're just turning to the left, remember, take this, turn it to the left, which will be a negative 100, and then you have to use the operator that's going to be less than, drop that in, and then just make it, negative 85 or whatever it is, and stick it back in the wait until. Alright, so again, the long and short of it is, when you're utilizing the gyro sensor to try to do some workarounds, when you're using your sensor in your wait block and your operator, you always want to set your angle to 0 directly before you're doing your turn. and you can set your speed to lower it. So now you're going to not only mitigate the drift by setting it to 0, you're also going to mitigate the reading of your total angle by setting it to 0, but you're also going to be lowering your risk of lag by lowering the speed. Alright, I know this was a lot, but you're more than welcome to stop this video, repeat it, but this really should help you and really make your life significantly easier. Alright, I hope this helped. Good luck.